World-renowned Dallas pastor T.D. Jakes is named in a federal lawsuit against musician Sean Diddy Combs.
What did I say when y'all asked me about why was the T.D. Jakes at the Diddy party?
Yeah.
What'd I say? Money.
That's correct.
You step into that father role, then a different level of expectation. Nobody dealt with this was P. Diddy's pastor, not his party goer. He went there to pray for the guy and left. But nobody knew how to separate the chair from the wheat.
In a surprising twist, music icon Sean Diddy Combs reportedly mentioned well-known pastor and author Bishop T.D. Jakes in recent court testimony. Diddy allegedly revealed previously undisclosed interactions and deals involving the influential bishop, raising questions and sparking debate over Jakes' possible connections to Diddy's often controversial social circles. According to sources, Diddy's statements might pose a risk to Jakes' public image, blurring the line between the hip-hop world's party culture and the faith community Jakes represents. This revelation has left fans of both Diddy and Jakes in shock, eagerly awaiting more details on the nature and impact of these allegations.
Sir, Madonna has been in the industry so long that she is proven and tried and true, and she has earned her rank. You never see her looking crazy or shaving her head or doing things out of pocket because she falls in line and she is one of the highest. You think I don't know people in the music industry, bruh? Hello? I once had Diddy text me, "Welcome to the family," but I was raped by a platinum-selling producer who was one of his cohorts. But I wasn't down with it. So Diddy knew that I wasn't with the shits and that I would not engage in their orgies and sex parties and rituals to be on.
Music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones has filed a lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him and some associates of being involved in a trafficking scheme. Jones alleges that Diddy harassed, intoxicated, and intimidated him over the course of more than a year. The lawsuit also brings in prominent pastor T.D. Jakes, claiming that Diddy intended to use his relationship with Jakes to ease the impact of a separate lawsuit filed by Cassie Ventura. In his testimony, Diddy described seeking Jakes' advice and support during challenging times and admitted to attending private events hosted by the pastor. At these gatherings, he allegedly witnessed behavior that might be considered inappropriate, raising questions about the nature of their relationship and how involved Jakes may have been in Diddy's affairs.
Diddy has been arrested in New York City after a grand jury indictment, and we have the breaking news. Though charges in the indictment are unknown, Billboard has confirmed the arrest. The rap mogul has been hit with at least 8 civil lawsuits alleging sexual abuse over the past year. Now, according to TMZ, Diddy was taken into federal custody at the FBI's Manhattan field office. In a statement to Billboard, an attorney for Diddy said, "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man. He is an imperfect person, but he is not a criminal." We'll keep you posted as the story develops. For everything we know, head to Billboard.com.
In March 2024, federal agents from Homeland Security raided Diddy's properties in Los Angeles and Miami in connection with the lawsuit filed by producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones. The agents searched Diddy's Hollywood Hills mansion and his Star Island estate as part of an ongoing investigation into alleged trafficking and misconduct. During the raids, authorities seized several items, including laptops and phones, and detained at least 2 people, though no arrests were made. Diddy and his legal team criticized the forceful nature of the raids, calling the actions excessive.
Diddy Combs has been denied bail in connection with the sexual abuse and sex trafficking charges he faces. And as Les Trent reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his first night behind bars inside a facility that is being called Hell on Earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is notorious for its appalling living conditions and rampant violence. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here. Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody. He says for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have a basic 15 square feet. It is a horrible place.
Diddy's lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
How's your dad doing? How's your dad doing?
Family members appeared somber as they arrived at federal court in Manhattan today in another attempt to get out on bail.
Diddy's attorney, Aaron Dyer, criticized the federal agents' actions during the recent raids, calling it an unnecessary show of military-level force and noting that Diddy had been fully cooperative. The raids are part of a broader investigation led by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, which is looking into allegations of trafficking and other serious charges. Shortly after the raids, Diddy's associate Brendan Paul was detained at Miami's Opa-locka Executive Airport, where he was allegedly found with illicit substances disguised as candies. Paul was arrested and charged with possession of a controlled substance. His arrest has added a new layer to the investigation, sparking speculation that he might have been moving the substance away from Diddy's properties during the raids. This has led some to wonder if Diddy attempted to conceal contraband from law enforcement during the searches.
Think that there's no way this trial is then going to happen in May?
It's unlikely, especially if there's a superseding indictment involving minors, because minors present a completely different set of circumstances. Because we know through his lawyers, Combs is arguing that the sexual activity happened, but it was consensual. Of course, for sex trafficking, you need one of those 3 elements: force, fraud, or coercion. Obviously, minors cannot consent to any sexual activity, so that would be a very different defense entirely. The defense would have to be that the activity didn't happen at all and the individuals are lying. So I think that's going to be the potential game changer if we do get the minors wrapped up into a superseding indictment. And we know, at least if you believe the civil attorneys, there are 25 minor victims, one of which is as young as 9.
And those suits haven't been filed yet, but that's what Tony Busby, this Texas attorney, has indicated that we should expect to see in these lawsuits. Elizabeth, I want to go to you. So as our other Elizabeth said, there was nothing about bail. And that's not surprising because that issue of bail has now been appealed to a different court, to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. I was going over the paperwork from Sean Combs' attorneys. We have 2 questions about that. Number 1, from Simply Sarah on YouTube, his lawyer did file bail paperwork. Yes. This is the second question. This is from Simply Sarah. Oh, Simply Sarah had 2 bail questions. Second one is, was this his last chance for bail? Meaning the paperwork that he just filed.
Yeah, so they filed paperwork basically appealing the decision of the 2 prior judges denying him bail to the Second Circuit. And, technically, if they're denied, they do have another higher court, the U.S. Supreme Court, to go to, but I think that's very unlikely. I think this would be the final stop, them appealing to the Second Circuit.
What do you think of his arguments? And let me just lay out what some of these arguments are. So first they say, we have presented a very attractive bail package. We have put $50 million secured by 2 properties, 24/7 security monitoring from an outside security firm, no access to phone, no access to internet, visitor logs, whatever other conditions you want to put. And they also said in their paperwork, Sean Combs knew he was under investigation since January. His attorneys immediately reached out to the Southern District of New York, even before there were raids, before there was charges.
Bishop T.D. Jakes is facing backlash over claims that he frequently attended parties hosted by Diddy events known for their extravagance and controversial atmosphere. Critics argue that Jakes' alleged presence at these gatherings conflicts with the values he promotes as a faith leader, raising concerns about the image he presents to his followers. Some feel this involvement shows a disconnect between his teachings and his lifestyle, potentially undermining his role as a spiritual guide. These accusations have sparked public discussions, with many questioning the extent to which religious figures should engage with high-profile figures from secular circles. Fans are increasingly asking what a spiritual leader like Bishop Jakes was doing at Diddy's parties, given the reputation surrounding these events.
That's why people get on my nerves talking about who you should be seen with. I do homeless shelters. I walk in prison ministries. I deal with murderers. I deal with rapists and killers because they're our children, our sons, and our daughters.
A fan recently tweeted, "But why is TD Jakes at Diddy's parties?" as online rumors circulated about Bishop TD Jakes' alleged involvement in inappropriate behavior at Diddy's infamous gatherings. Some critics claim that the respected megachurch pastor participated in a compromising manner with labels and rumors hinting at adult activities. Named in the lawsuit, Jakes has strongly denied any wrongdoing. In a statement, he reaffirmed his commitment to his faith and congregation, stating that he has always acted with integrity. During a Christmas Eve service at the Potter's house, he addressed the allegations, saying he had nothing to repent for. Through a representative, Jakes dismissed these rumors as false and baseless, emphasizing his dedication to his faith and community.
Really be involved in some things that could help save some individuals while they going to those parties. Or maybe he just going to, man, it's hard to even talk about. Why would you find a religious man, when you know that the saints supposed to separate themselves from the sinners, and why would a religious man like himself be at a party which ain't nothing but sin that's going on, bro? Whether it's drinking, maybe fornicating, maybe, like I said, men on men, women on women. It's hard to put in perspective unless he's involving himself what is actually going on at the parties.
Bishop TD Jakes recently responded to allegations about his alleged involvement in controversial parties hosted by Diddy, cautioning people against believing lies and stating he has nothing to repent for regarding this matter. He reaffirmed his commitment to guiding people from all backgrounds, presenting himself as focused on his mission as a pastor. Rather than addressing specific accusations directly, Jakes highlighted the rise of deepfakes and manipulated media as a growing issue, questioning the authenticity of certain claims. However, his response hasn't stopped speculation on social media, with some questioning his reluctance to speak directly about his attendance at Diddy's gatherings. Jakes' statement on associating with those who do wrong because they are still sons of God has further fueled debate. Critics argue that by avoiding specific allegations and shifting to a religious justification, Jakes seems to deflect rather than confront the issue. Some believe this perceived evasiveness implies guilt, even if unintended. Internet commentators have noted that public figures often use vague responses in faith-based appeals when faced with uncomfortable situations. As a result, many are questioning whether Jakes' actions reflect poor judgment or if he's hiding something, raising concerns about the message he's sending to his followers as a spiritual leader.
And those suits haven't been filed yet, but that's what Tony Busby, this Texas attorney, has indicated that we should expect to see in these lawsuits. Elizabeth, I want to go to you. So as our other Elizabeth said, there was nothing about bail. And that's not surprising because that issue of bail has now been appealed to a different court, to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. I was going over the paperwork from Sean Combs' attorneys. We have two questions about that. Number one, from Simply Sarah on YouTube, his lawyer did file bail paperwork. Yes. This is the second question. This is from Simply Sarah. Oh, Simply Sarah had two bail questions. Second one is, was this his last chance for bail? Meaning the paperwork that he just filed.
Yeah, so they filed paperwork basically appealing the decision of the two prior judges denying him bail to the Second Circuit. And, technically if they're denied, they do have another higher court, the U.S. Supreme Court, to go to, but I think that's very unlikely. I think this would be the final stop, them appealing to the Second Circuit.
What do you think of his arguments? And let me just lay out what some of these arguments are. So first they say, we have presented a very attractive bail package. We have put $50 million secured by two properties, 24/7 security monitoring from an outside security firm, no access to phone, no access to internet, visitor logs, whatever other conditions you want to put. And they also said in their paperwork, Sean Combs knew he was under investigation since January. His attorneys immediately reached out to the Southern District of New York, even before there were raids, before there was charges.
Gene Deal, a former bodyguard for Diddy, has openly criticized Bishop TD Jakes for his association with the hip-hop mogul, especially regarding his attendance at Diddy's well-known lavish parties. In an interview with The Art of Dialogue, Deal voiced his concerns, arguing that Jakes' involvement in these controversial gatherings damages the reputation of Christian leaders, particularly at a time when public trust in faith figures is fragile. Deal believes that a true spiritual leader should embody purity and integrity. and he sees Jake's ties with Diddy as conflicting with the high moral standards expected of religious leaders. Deal's critique sparked further debate about the role of faith leaders engaging with high-profile celebrities while maintaining a spiritual image that resonates with their followers. He argued that associating with figures known for extravagant and sometimes controversial lifestyles risks diluting the sanctity of Christian leadership. Many shared Deal's concerns, feeling that Jake's relationships with figures like Diddy could undermine the values he preaches in his ministry. This has led to broader discussions about the balance faith leaders must strike when engaging in both spiritual and secular spheres. Critics suggest that by associating with celebrities known for lifestyles that often clash with Christian teachings, Jakes might be blurring the line between his ministry and the allure of fame. Deal's comments reflect a growing concern over the integrity of religious figures in the public eye and how their actions can influence the public perception of faith and leadership.
Man, what I think about it is this, when I grew up in the church, the sinners was not supposed to have the same atmosphere with the saints. You have to be able to separate the two. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin, drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman, he on she. But maybe he there to lay some hands on somebody. Maybe he there to save some souls. I know he got a contract with Revolt, so I'm just like, it's just real strange that he would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy unless it's in a business atmosphere. So now what he's doing is he's making, man, he making the Christians look real bad right about now.
Pastor Jamal Bryant recently responded to rumors involving Bishop T.D., Jakes, and Diddy in a video expressing his concerns over how such stories could affect the faith of believers in the community. Bryant urged people to focus on more pressing issues and work toward a better world rather than getting entangled in unverified rumors. Meanwhile, another prominent pastor, Geno Jennings, took a different approach, offering sharp criticism of both Jakes and Diddy. Jennings voiced concerns about the connections between high-profile church leaders and celebrities whose lifestyles, he believes, conflict with Christian values. He referenced a viral story involving baby oil, hinting at alleged risky behavior associated with Diddy, and argued that such associations reflect poorly on religious figures. Jennings questioned the integrity of pastors who engage with celebrities known for controversial lifestyles, specifically calling out Jakes for his past ties to Diddy. According to Jennings, these relationships risk diluting the church's mission by aligning it too closely with worldly influences, potentially weakening its core values.
A lot of these celebrities, every single celebrity in the culture has been to Diddy's house, which means they've gone through all his phones, text messages. I can read you my text message to Diddy. What day is it airing on the show, on the network? Are you coming on the show? Diddy, what's this? It's all been business for me. It's been business for me. I don't have nothing inappropriate to them people because I don't deal with them like that. So you mean to tell me all those late nights, what you doing, where you at? I've seen Jay-Z at his house. I've seen T.D. Jakes at his house. I've seen Chris Brown at his house. I've seen Jordan Woods at his house. I've seen Travis Scott at his house. I've seen Beyonce at his house. I've seen Tiana Taylor. I've seen them all.
Jaguar Wright, known for her outspoken critiques of the music industry, recently weighed in on the rumors surrounding Bishop T.D., Jakes, and his alleged connections to Diddy's parties during an interview on Street Life. Wright suggested that Jakes didn't attend these events just for networking, but possibly for personal reasons. She even claimed that Jakes had a profile on Grindr, a statement that has sparked intense speculation about his private life and further fueled the conversation about his lifestyle and association. Wright's remarks have added to the controversy, with many questioning the integrity of the pastor, especially given her history of exposing well-known figures in the entertainment world. Her accusations are part of a larger pattern where she has targeted celebrities tied to the darker side of the entertainment industry. The public reaction to the rumors about Jake's involvement in Diddy's parties has been one of shock and disappointment, with many grappling with the implications for the pastor's reputation.
Where like there's a website of what? It's just wild to hear like you mentioned the
You
normal.
never heard of Grindr?
I personally have not. That is what.
Why don't nobody ever talk about the fact that TD Cakes has an account allegedly on Grindr?
Oh wow.
Grindr is a sex app. It's been around for about 15 years now. It's pretty much where you can put a GPS in an asshole. So you go onto the app and it uses the location. And it routes you to the account of the man closest to you. And then y'all DM and you decide if you're going to do it at the 7-Eleven or do it at the gay club in the bathroom. It's a hookup site for promiscuous gay men.
Wow.
The Grindr.
Jeez.
Why would a bishop have a ghost account?
Bishop T.D. Jakes, long respected as a moral and spiritual guide, is now facing intense scrutiny over his rumored association with Diddy, especially given the criminal investigations surrounding the music mogul. Many of Jake's followers are struggling to reconcile how a leader who preaches righteousness and integrity could be linked to an environment known for extravagance and controversy. This disconnect between his public teachings and the allegations about his private associations has led some to question his credibility as a faith leader and the values he truly represents. 50 Cent has also weighed in, warning others against attending Diddy's parties, often alluding to the controversial nature of these events. In a tweet, he said, "I've been telling Y all about all this weird stuff. I don't do puffy parties. You didn't believe me, but I bet you believe me now." This kind of reaction highlights the sense of betrayal felt by some, particularly those who have long looked up to Jakes for spiritual guidance. Whether or not the rumors about his attendance are true, the situation has sparked a larger conversation about the responsibility of religious leaders to uphold an image that aligns with their teachings. Some speculate that Diddy may have been trying to strengthen his relationship with Jakes as part of a strategy to improve his public image, especially as the allegations against him continue to escalate.